happy Halloween. This time I'll call the Tuesday, October 31st, 2023 work session of the Hardin County Board of Commissioners to order. And I'll ask Vice Chairman Bill Woods to give us the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the many blessings we receive. Please give us the guidance and the strength to serve the citizens of Harnett County. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, sir.
All right, good morning again, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. First item is discuss a request for reimbursement of permit fees and sewer water fees for a home built at 229 Sneed Lane in Fuquay. Home Builders Association of Raleigh Lake County.
Good morning. My name is Paul Kane. I'm with the Home Builders Association of Raleigh-Wake County, but I'm also with Operation Coming Home, which is a 501c3 charity. I'm actually here in my capacity as the corporate secretary of Operation Coming Home. Operation Coming Home builds new homes for veterans who were severely injured in combat operations and also for the families of the fallen soldiers, Gold Star families. We are here before you today to request reimbursement of some permit fees associated with the construction of a new home in Harnett County in the Serenity neighborhood. We have appeared before this body before at the prior home that we built in Harnett County, and were able to receive those funds at that time, and are back for this second Harnett County, as we call them, hero homes. In the last time we were here, we requested a waiver before building, and we were able to get that. In this case, the timing of construction oftentimes doesn't synchronize with government meetings, and so they had to proceed and actually pay those fees. So rather than seeking a waiver on the front end, we're just seeking a reimbursement on the back end. Operation Coming Home has been in existence for 15 years, and this will be the 27th home that we have built for either a severely injured veteran or a Gold Star family. In every instance, everybody that we have appeared before and requested either a waiver or reimbursement has honored that, and also attends our events so that we can honor that contribution. We had a ceremony in October, kind of the first part of the process, kind of introducing the recipient and the builder to the community. And then we will have a key ceremony, probably early January. I don't think we have a date yet. And that's where we'll actually give the keys over to the recipient. Typically, the keys are delivered via paratrooper. And it's a very emotional time. It's a very patriotic time. And I will be sure that word gets to each and every one of you, because we would like any of you that are able to attend and join us. And now I'd like to introduce you to the builder of this project, Elena Money Garman with Garman Homes.
Thank you, Paul. Hi, everyone. I'm Elena Money Garman. As Paul said, I'm the founder and CEO of Garman Homes. This is our third home built with Operation Coming Home. We're the first to build to honor the life of a fallen soldier, and this is our third. And we're very proud to be able to build it in Serenity in Harnett County. And I just want to tell you a little bit about Ava and her 4 children. Ava lost her husband 15 years ago when her children were very young. They're now young adults, teenagers, and one is a police officer who just had his first baby. And she has one son, 2 sons, and 1 daughter living with her. One son has very severe special needs. And Ava, despite her horrific tragedy, is a person full of joy. And we are so lucky that we get to celebrate her joy and build her a home for a new chapter in her life, where her family gets to celebrate their survival of this ultimate sacrifice that Wantre Bradley made for all of us. And we're very grateful for the opportunity to build the home, and we're very proud to be able to build it in Harnett County. We're a new builder to Harnett County in Serenity, and it's been a wonderful place to build and add more Garman homeowners to your fine county. So thank you so much, and we appreciate you. Do you want to say something?
And unless there are any questions for us, I would just like to wrap up by, again, requesting the items listed there, reimbursement of the fees paid to the county in association with this project.
Any questions or comments?
I have questions because as not me, I didn't vote for it, but this board voted not to give any funding to any nonprofits here in Gwinnett County. So you're telling me this is a nonprofit organization?
It's a 501c3 charity.
Yes, well, this board here, they voted to stop the funding that we was giving to nonprofit organizations in Harnett County.
The money actually is not going to the charity. The charity orchestrates the building of it. The building was actually built by Garmin Homes. Garmin Homes is actually the entity who has paid the funds and is now seeking the reimbursement.
But that's what I'm just saying.
Yeah,
We've done this before.
right.
We've reimbursed or forgiven fees in the past.
You voted not to give to any nonprofit. You, this board, voted that.
I would like to suggest we put this on the consent agenda for approval.
You can suggest whatever you want to suggest. I'm telling you what you all did.
Pleasure of the board.
If you give it to one, you're gonna give it to all.
The
Because it's
money
on
is
the
not
phone.
going to the charity.
Excuse me?
The money is not going to the charity.
The money goes to Garmin
No,
Homes.
the money that we was giving to nonprofits were not going to charities. They were going to nonprofit organizations that was benefiting the citizens of this county.
The money is not going to a nonprofit. The money would be
No,
going to
the money
Garmin
goes to
Homes,
the
who's
home
already
builder.
paid the money.
Repeat that?
The money would be going to Garmin Homes, who's already paid that funds out of its own money. It's a private for-profit builder.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask the question. I just want to be very clear what I'm doing because that's what happened here. And I want to make sure that we are not starting something that they voted to do away with. Because I believe in nonprofits. I believe in helping the citizens of Harnett County. But it must be done fairly because they voted against it.
Any other questions, comments? Pleasure of the board to add this to the consent agenda.
Ed?
Go ahead and add this to the consent agenda for next week.
Put it on for another further discussion.
Can we add this for a separate line item for discussion next week, please? Thank you. Thank you.
I want to say I have nothing against what you're doing. I think it's a wonderful thing, and I'm very patriotic. But when I sit up here and I vote for the citizens, I got to do it in the right way. And when they make rules, I didn't vote for it. Let me make that understand.
Understood.
Yeah. Moving on to item number 4, Operation Greenlight for Veterans. Mr. Eric Truesdale, good morning.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. Here this morning to talk a little bit about Operation Greenlight. It's in the second year that we've celebrated that, and it's a nationwide effort that is spearheaded by NACO and the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers. So we plan to do that this year by, again, lighting up this building, the Resource Center and the library and the courthouse. We're also going to encourage, any meaningful landmarks, residents, businesses, and private citizens would like to light their homes in green. We would certainly appreciate that, because what that's doing is it's unifying the support. It's letting the veterans know that we care about them, we support them, and we're behind them all the way. So we're asking that we do that. And also, since it's going to be Veterans Day week, we're going to be doing this November 6th through the 12th, that whole week. And also during that week, while I'm here talking about it, I just want to highlight a few things that will be going on during that week. Wednesday, November the 8th at 10 a.m. outside of the social services, they'll be having a flag ceremony. It's open to the public and anybody who would like to come out and honor the veterans and their sacrifices. Also, on November 8th, the Veterans Treatment Court over here is going to be having their 10th anniversary celebration. Mr. Trowley will be their speaker over that, and that'll be at 2:30 in the afternoon, I believe. And on Friday, November the 10th, our Veterans Day ceremony will be at the Veterans Park right out here. If it's, we'll have a lunch right afterwards back inside. Mr. Trout will also be the speaker at that. Also on November 11th at 11 a.m., Veterans Legacy Foundation will be doing a medal ceremony and presentation to veterans and their families for long overdue medals right here in the Resource Center Library. So it's going to be a busy week, a lot of things going on. And again, we're going to be lighting the buildings up green. There's a resolution for you commissioners to consider in your package. We would encourage you to support that, and thank you for all you do for us.
Thank you very much, sir. Any questions or comments from Mr. Truesdale?
So,
Any
appreciate it.
objection to adding the resolution to the agenda for this?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and add this next week for approval, Madam Clerk. Discuss a request for board approval to receive $8,000 awarded by NCPHA for the Ann Wolf mini grant to support child health and infant mortality projects. Mr. John Roush, good morning, sir.
Good morning. We received a $8,000 grant from Ann Wolf Foundation through the North Carolina Public Health Association. We're going to buy gun locks and medicine locks, probably about 200 of each, I think is what we're going to be able to buy with this, and pass them out in our child health clinic and any little groups that or events that we have for children. There's no contribution that we had to make or add on to add to the 8,000. So it's a one-time grant.
Questions or comments? Pleasure of the board to add this to the consent agenda. Go ahead and add this next week as well, Madam Clerk. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Discuss a request of the board to approve a resolution adopting the 2022 local water supply plan for the Harnett Regional Water System. Mr. Steve Ward, good morning, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good morning. The local water supply plan is prepared by our staff every year. The state, North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality requires us to prepare this document. It's a planning document they review, looks at sort of where we've been as far as water supply and what we plan to do in the future. They require us, they started a couple of years ago, it used to be every 5 years. Now it's annually for the board to approve a resolution adopting the plan for the previous year. So this plan is for 2022. So pretty, it's a formality really, but you have the resolution in front of you. I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions or comments from Mr. Ward? Pleasure of the board to add this to the consent agenda for next week.
Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead and add this next week as well, Madam Clerk. And next you're up as well again, sir. Discuss a request for the board to agree to a letter of intent with the town of Lillington for creation of an urban service area north of the town's current corporate limits.
Thank you. About 2 years ago, HRW and admin staff, about the time County Manager Trout began his employment with the county, we began discussions with the town of Lillington about utility service in the area north of the river up to Harnett Central Road. And really this was necessitated by two things. The first thing was the simple economic conditions. All that growth coming down from Wake County looking for places to build houses. And quite frankly, we fit that profile, being close enough to the triangle, having relatively cheap land. I guess I can say that 2 years ago. And having an abundance of utility service. So the area just north of Lillington, the unannexed area, was really right for that development. Couple that with the sewer line that the county built down from Fuquay, a main outfall line. It's 42 inches in diameter in that area from Harnett Central Road, follows Neals Creek down to the property, the old Layton property there, adjacent to Keith Hills. So, and then we have a line that goes underneath the Cape Fear River to our sewer plant in Lillington. So all those factors kind of necessitated or encourage this growth that we're seeing. I sent you a map, or put a map in your packet there. If you look at that map, that shows an urban service area boundary. Let me talk a little bit about what an urban service area is. This isn't a new concept in North Carolina. It's really a means to facilitate smart growth within an area when it comes to utilities and other things. So there's one in Wake County now. There's some other areas around Charlotte that have urban service areas. And so, you see in different places, especially near municipalities, you see this haphazard growth that happens. Kind of spot annexations was a good term that used to be used about growth, because they sort of tag on to the municipality's corporate boundaries and get those benefits without being in the city itself or the town. So we knew that this area here, was going to grow haphazardly because of that. If you look at your map, you can see that area there that's sort of proposed. And again, this is just a proposal, and this area is tentative, so nothing here is final in this letter of intent. But if you look at the blue, that's areas that are already voluntarily annexed into the town. So just look at that. So you can see areas that are kind of up and down that corridor of Highway 210, not all the way west of 401, not all the way east of Bowie's Creek, but pretty close. And you can see those annexations in there. And this happened because the town, two factors really. First, the town gave them, allowed them to have more density in their zoning. So a developer could get more lots than he could get if he stayed in the county in another area, for example. So that's money to a developer. That's their bottom line, of course. And so that's how a lot of this happened, where these developments said, we want to be in the town of Lillington. We agree to be voluntarily annexed. Because in North Carolina, towns don't have many rights when it comes to annexing property. Really, without voluntarily annexed, or agreeing to be voluntarily annexed, there's not a lot of options for towns. So the areas you see in blue, that was where a developer decided to do a development and agreed to be voluntarily annexed into the town of Lillington. Now, if you look at that map, I know this is kind of busy, but there's a lot to talk about. The items that are in, I think that's purple or fuchsia there, whatever, that's the county's existing sewer lines. Okay? And then if you'll see the area in red and green, that is coming down from Harnett Central Road. That is proposed construction from the town of Lillington. So a lot of this also was spurred not only by economic factors, but by the town deciding to build a sewer line from Harnett Central Road down Highway 210 south toward town, and then building a line on Matthews Road, a gravity line, down and tying into the county's existing line that comes over from the hospital and ties into that big line that I mentioned earlier on Neals Creek Road. So the letter of intent came about by trying to look at how to best control that growth. Like I said, the town will get to tie into our existing sewer main on Matthews Road. That saves them several $1,000s in construction costs, because otherwise they would have to come under 401 and tie into their line near this building, as a matter of fact. So that saves the town a lot of money. Plus, they don't have to go through a lift station that's right here behind the Cooperative Extension building. And that's messy in itself when you're dealing with sewer. So this is a lot better option for them. So let me explain this. That's a $3.5 million construction by the town. The county provides all the water north of the river. All right, keep that in mind. So there's areas like around the food line where we are now. We're in the town of Lillington, even though we're north of the river. But the town has no water north of the river. It's all county-owned lines, and we supply all the water. So any billing that's done, they're automatically our customers. Anybody on the north side of the river, we bill, even though part of that sewer is the towns, around Food Line, here, up to 10 to Tripp Road, a little bit down Old Coates Road past Johnson Brothers. You know, those areas are Lillington sewer. The county has sewer in that area too, going east toward CCCC and back toward Bowie's Creek. That's the county sewer. So it gets really complicated in a hurry. And this growth, without this agreement and a way to facilitate it, means that every one of these properties that have came into Lillington, we're still going to be involved in that because it's our water anyway. So we'll bill for the water and sewer, send a check over to the town every month. It gets really complicated. So this agreement gives us the ability where the county will control all the water and sewer in this area, even if it's in the town of Lillington. And they will give us the sewer line that they're building now. So this $3.5 million construction, which is getting ready to start, I think, within the next month in the town, that will become the county sewer. All the sewer that's here that serves this property, that serves Food Line and the area that I talked about earlier, up to 10, that will become the county sewer line. So we feel like this is a good way to control that growth going forward and not have a hodgepodge of who's going to serve what, where with water and sewer. So you have before you a letter of intent that the county and the town work together on. The town board has reviewed this document. They've approved the document. They've talked about it. And so what I'm asking the board to do today is to help us to, we approve this same document going forward, and then we'll work on an actual formal agreement to establish the USA. So a lot of these areas, the letter of intent gets through the main points, but there's still some details to be worked out as we move forward. For example, and these things are in the letter of intent if you looked at it. So if this agreement's approved, then any development who wants to be on water and sewer in that USA would agree to be annexed into the town. Okay? So that's part of the pro for the town, is they get that tax dollars too of that new development. But really, they're getting those anyway. There's about 6,000 lots right now that are planned in this area. Just grasp that thought. 6,000 lots. That's 18,000 people roughly. Lillington's got about 3,000 or 3,500 people in it right now. So that's coming. There's not a thing we can do to stop that growth. That's happening here now. So this is a way to better help to manage that, where there's no back and forth between the provider of water and sewer going forward. And this allows the town to grow. This will be their jurisdiction in the sense of anybody who gets on water and sewer, they'll determine what amenities are there. Now, some of those things are positives in that, let's look at stormwater. We talked about this. We had a meeting yesterday. The town, in North Carolina, towns, because of density in towns, are provided to are required to provide more stringent stormwater controls than the county is, because we're much more rural. So that can help existing landowners with drainage and other things, issues we see all the time in the county. We have complaints about drainage in the county with new development. This will help with that if they're in town. Fire service, that's another sticky situation where we don't have all the details worked out, but even now, when these people are annexed, or these developments are annexed into town, they're served by Lillington Fire Department, right? They go out from, I think, Northwest, Summerville, and Bowie's Creek would serve some of this area now. But mainly what we're talking about is farmland that's going to turn into rooftops, or commercial development. So they're serving them, but when the town, it's my understanding, and Larry can affirm this as well, if something's annexed into town and they become Town of Lillington Fire customers, the town has to repay the county fire department for that portion of the debt that they have that's outstanding for that parcel, as a percentage. So it's not like a takeover or something like that. And there needs to be more done. We need to have some meetings with fire chiefs and that thing and talk about it. But I know right now Lillington's planning on building a fire station out just north of Cape Fear Presbyterian Church there on 210, right about Tripp Road. So what's that, a mile and a half out of town, something like that? So they're already preparing to serve these customers, and they have to. So this growth is happening. This letter of intent is a way, and the creation of this USA is a way to kind of structure that growth when it comes to utilities. And we think it's a win-win for both parties, because otherwise, I don't think the end result, especially 10 years from now, is going to be pretty. When you've got, Lillington trying to extend sewer here, the county saying, well, we don't know if we want to do that because there's, how much is this? There's just all sorts of variables. You kind of get into these little scuffles about what's a priority for one versus the other, and that kind of this helps smooth over that, in my opinion, and makes it much smarter growth going forward, because there is no stopping this train. It's already, the map shows you, it's already happening right now. Of those 6,000 lots that I talked about, well, the county's already providing the water and sewer for 4,000 of them. Y'all had that discussion last week about Kipling. Well, if you look up there, that big blue area just north of Harnett Central, that's Matthews Landing. That's 1,000 lots. The county's already providing the water and sewer for that, and that's in the town of Lillington. They agreed to be voluntarily annexed. If you'll move that map up just a little and show the river, Capeton, which I talked about, if you just cross the river, it's on 421 across from CCCC. It is not shown in blue there, but they already have a developer agreement with Lillington. That's going to be in Lillington. That's 3,000 lots. County providing all the water and sewer anyway. So this is already happening. The only thing this is really changing is that sewer line that's being built up to 10, and the town giving us that sewer infrastructure that already exists right here in the commercial part of Lillington, on this side of the river. So I know that's a lot to ingest. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from this board?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You said smart growth?
Yes.
He may
Smart
be-
as it can be.
It's smart, that's it. That's probably the best thing you can say.
Yes.
We can't stop the growth.
Right.
We've got to do something to protect the citizens here in this county with the water and the sewer. How far are we along as far as building another sewer plant and the water plant?
Okay,
Because at some point, we're going to run out.
That's a good question. So next Thursday, we'll be opening bids for the sewer plant expansion here in Lillington at North Harnett. So again, that construction, that planned construction will take that plant from 7.5 million gallons per day capacity to 16.5 million gallons per day. So it will more than double that. So, a lot of that's funded with ARPA. We've got other partners, the town of Anger, the town of Lillington, and the town of Fuquay-Varina, who are contributing to that. That'll probably be, hopefully that'll come in somewhere around $75 million. So it's a huge project, and it's being built specifically or being upgraded to handle this growth. So that's an example. Right now, the water treatment plant's fine. If you look in that water supply plan, we do about 20 million gallons a day. The plant can do 42 million. So we can handle that growth in the foreseeable future, but we do have plans in our capital improvement program to build another plant in Irwin that will satisfy the eastern part of the county and Johnston County and others that we sell water to in that area and take that off this existing plant. So again, we are planning and preparing for growth because
Well,
it's coming whether we want it or not.
I understand that, and I appreciate you planning for it because it's 42,000 kilometers of water that we provide a day. We've been doing this for a long time, so at some point it's going to increase. You
Oh,
can't keep
absolutely.
you can't keep building houses and sitting. I know we can't control the growth. Believe me, I understand that. But there are things that we're going to have to plan for other than water and sewer. I mean, the traffic in Littleton, now I know how many, I live here. You can't hardly get out of Littleton after 3 o'clock until 6 o'clock. So we're going to have to start thinking about transportation and roads and stuff here in this county. That should be part of our growth too. But I understand that you don't control that and whatever. But with all these people that are approving all these land sites for all of these homes, they need to think about the quality of life that our citizens in this county is going to have. And I mean, Steve, I'm not trying to put you on a limb, but it's just something that I have been thinking about for a long, long time. I'm not against growth. But, we got to have smart growth. We're not growing anything but rooftops in this county. And so we got to have somebody to think about. Maybe the new economic development guy can help us on that. Think about something besides rooftops. And I appreciate your presentation. I appreciate you being honest. And it's not going to be a cost to the county, you're saying. The cost is going to be on the town of Littleton to supply these needs for the new citizens and new homes here. So, I don't know. I don't know where we're going, but I think we're digging a hole for ourselves. That's for sure. You have no control over it. And I believe, I have faith in you. If you did, you could bring some plan to us.
Well, hopefully, the Department of Transportation will see all the growth happening here and they will respond in kind. We've heard that a long time, so hopefully that'll happen, not only with transportation needs, but we'll see other things that the county so desperately wants, like more commercial and industrial opportunities, hopefully.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Definitely can't stop it, can't control it before we outrun our resources.
Yes.
All right, so pleasure of the board to add this letter of intent to the consent agenda.
Can't stop.
All right, we'll go ahead and add this to the consent agenda next week as well, Madam Clerk. And that will do for you, Mr. Ward. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Discuss a request from Anderson Creek Emergency Services for board approval for the purchase of a 2000 KME Aerial Cat 102 platform ladder truck. Mr. Larry
Big old ladder
Smith.
truck.
There you go.
Yeah. Anderson Creek has, they approached me a couple weeks ago. They've had an opportunity to purchase Spring Lake's old ladder truck. They've got all the maintenance records for it. It's in really good condition. They've actually got staff at Anderson Creek that are trained on that particular truck that work at Spring Lake too. So they're looking to pick that up for $70,000. They're going to purchase that with cash. Typically with a ladder truck, you're looking anywhere from $900,000 to about $1.4 million. So this is a great deal. The truck is in excellent condition too. So, and this is something that our emergency services study a few years back actually identified that we needed a ladder truck platform out in that area. And they specifically said Anderson Creek area, Spout Springs, Ben Haven area. So, any questions?
Questions or comments? The objection to that consent agenda. Go ahead and add this consent agenda as well.
All right.
And you're up again, sir. Discuss board approval to receive $35,000 EMPG funding.
This funding is the annual funding we get through the state from FEMA to run our emergency management program. There is no cost share of this. We have an in-kind match with the emergency management coordinator salary, but this is particularly goes right towards the EM operational budget. We pay things out of this like our reverse 911 system and any other operational needs throughout the year.
Questions or comments? Objection? Well, go ahead and add this to the next week's agenda as well, Madam Clerk. Consent agenda.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Item number 10, discuss a request from the Jetport requesting that the Board of Commissioners consider and sign a required NCDOT airport safety maintenance letter. Mr. Greg Frank, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. Mr. Trout. I'm here this morning to ask that you please consider and sign a required NCDOT Division of Aviation letter of agreement for airport safety and maintenance projects. This letter serves to provide a continued commitment between the Division of Aviation and Harnett Regional Jetport to provide safety and maintenance services, such as the runway rehabilitation project, which we completed in September of this year. The project restored our Jetport aircraft movement areas by routing and filling cracks, as well as resealing the runway, taxiway, and apron asphalt. All areas also received a fresh coat of paint on the markings on the field. Once signed by all appropriate parties, this commitment will be effective until December of 2028. Some of the responsibilities of the sponsor listed in the letter of agreement are to provide a duly authorized representative who will be present and or available while work is in progress, to provide an operator that will monitor the airport's Unicom transceiver while work is in progress. When needed, close the runway, taxiway, or apron while work is in progress to maintain safety of pilots and work crews and maintain the integrity of work being performed. To issue and keep current any necessary NOTAMs or notice to airmen through the FAA. All of these things we've done in the past, especially with the rehab project, and we will continue to do to promote a safe and efficient operations at HRJ.
Any questions or comments? Pleasure to the board to go ahead and add this as well. Go ahead and add this consent agenda for approval next week as well, Madam Clerk. Okay, thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners.
Right, item 11, discuss a request to approve a project ordinance allocating expenditures and revenues for the 23 USD Rural Housing Prevention Grant, or Preservation Grant. Totally opposite.
It's a long one. Morning, Chair, board members. Thank you very much for allowing me to come up here. In May 15th of this year, this board approved us to apply for USDA Housing Preservation Grant dollars. We applied for $85,000 and zero match. Now they tugged at my arm to try to get us to do a match, but we said no match because that was right before the budget. We didn't ask for it. So luckily, we have no match on this. What we're requesting is approval of the project ordinance so that we can move forward with serving approximately 6 to 10 homes with minor repairs, no more than $10,000 per home. So it could be less, it could be right at $10,000, but no more. We have a genuine need to do minor repairs because, as you know, $10,000 is a minor repair now for a home. However, this is a fairly easy grant to do. We've done it in the past. It's been a few years. However, it's easy to provide. We're going to use in-house persons, and facility maintenance is going to help us with a lot of estimates and those kind of things, and then we'll hire out contractors. It's a win-win as far as no match, and then putting $85,000 in Harnett County. Are any questions?
Questions?
Comment. I think it's a great grant, and I appreciate you applying for it. But who's gonna be the one that screen the candidates for this?
We will.
You will?
We will advertise. You know, we have a list of approximately 260 people that have asked for our help in the past, and it continues to grow. We have an active grant. The county is not doing the grant, but we have or the county has an active grant with Triangle J, COG, to provide single-family rehab. We've done, I think there's approximately 6 homes at this point, and then there's a chance as we move forward to do probably another 4 or 5. So we have that project going on. It's not really our project, but they do it in our name because we don't have the background to do it. I mean, they really require a lot of things that we cannot provide unless we actually have a full-blown rehabilitation housing project or team. So we farmed it out to them, but this is something that's very simple to do. It's just, I mean, it's really easy. I mean, there's not too much that the USDA requires us to do, but to ensure that we provide photographs, we do the environmental, and again, all these things we've done before, and they're fairly simple for a 1 or 2 team member, which that's all we have. So
Well, I think it's certainly a need for it,
there is.
especially for our seniors in this county.
Yep.
There's certainly a need, and I'm glad to hear that we applied for the grant and we have received the grant.
Well, we'll apply for it as long as the board approves us to do that every year, so, or every 2 years.
Thank you.
Will we decide the recipients, or will that be done by Central Pines COG now?
So
Change their name?
So what we do is we have and we've been using this for years. We have a dynamic way of looking at every applicant. First of all, we got to make sure, the first thing we do is make sure they meet certain criteria, income levels. You score higher points for being elder, or you have lead in the house. If you have children under the age of 3, so we assign points to those ones, and so we present those. In the past, what we've done, and we plan to continue, is get a board of people like DSS and others that associated with that, and we grade which ones we'll do. Then we go out there and assess the house, and if the house is so dilapidated that we're just wasting money, we turn them down. I mean, if we can fix something to keep a person in, like I'll use a ramp. If we can build a ramp to keep a person in their home, that's the whole objective of this grant, is to put people there. However, we can't put a roof on a house when you got a bunch of electrical problems and those kind of things that we're not going to help you stay in the home. But we do have a group of people that looks at all the applications. I mean, I don't choose them. We just choose them by a grade. And then, again, the next step is go to the house and look.
I have one more question now. Will you be reaching out to Johnson Lee and Harnett? Because I know they do this, helping citizens that are in need to repair their homes.
Right. So we're going to, first of all, we'll advertise it.
Okay.
The application process. We'll advertise that with a quick application. We will automatically send everybody on our list an application to apply. So we'll have that, and so that'll give us an indication of who's on the list still, because a lot of them may not be, and then we'll receive those applications, and at the same time we'll be looking at folks that we can use our $10,000 budgeted for the smaller projects, and may be able to leverage something with this $85,000. So, but we will do a lot of reach out. So, also DSS has been our partners. They already know. We've already given them heads up that we're going to be sending these applications out. The health department, cooperative extension. So we think we're going to get more than we can serve. There's no doubt.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Pleasure of the board.
Yeah.
We're going to have this consent agenda next week as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right, discuss a request from the tax department borrowing off the 2013 delinquent taxes pursuant to NCGS 105378 Alpha. Ms. Christine Wallace, good morning.
Good morning. This morning we have the yearly requirement to borrow off the 10-year-old taxes, so that would be for the 2013 delinquent taxes. The taxes that are more than 10 years old cannot be collected using enforced collection remedies, and so although those collection remedies are not enforceable or permissible at this time, it's still, the delinquent taxes still remain a lien on the property and can be collected by other payment methods such as a private sale of the property. So this year, the amount that we're going to borrow off for real and personal property is $36,985.44, and for motor vehicles, it's $42,215.01. So they request to put that on the agenda.
Any questions or comments? Any objection, Madam? This is the consent as well. Go ahead and add this to the consent agenda next week as well. And you are up again, Ms. Wallace. Discuss a request to award a contract for the 26 reappraisal.
Okay, so today we're here to follow up on the second request for qualifications bids regarding this 26 reappraisal. The request for qualifications was advertised in the local newspaper as required. An invitation for bids were sent to all 13 registered firms on the Department of Revenue website, and a request for qualifications was posted on the Department Administration Hub solicitation site. Again, this second round, we only received 2 bids, the same as the prior request. And in my request for qualifications, to kind of follow up again, is I look for a reputable firm with mass appraisal experience, a reduced number of field appraisers in our office. Makes it difficult to train a new firm coming in, and so another priority was that they were capable of using our software and had used it in another county prior to this, and that they would have adequate staffing to complete a project of this size. In reviewing the qualifications, I determined that the bidder number 1 had never completed a countywide reappraisal in the state of North Carolina, and they have not worked in our same CAMA software, and they did have a limited number of staff to complete the project. Bidder number 2 had multiple reappraisals in 7 counties, along with projects in 27 other counties within the state, and they have completed 3 mass appraisals in the BITEC software. So they're very familiar with our software and how it works and what it's capable of doing. They also have the adequate staff to complete the project. Minimum qualifications must be met in order to ensure that we can complete this project and have a quality product while being fair and equitable amongst all taxpayers in the county. So with that, I am requesting that the award be made to the Vince Evaluations.
Questions or comments from Ms. Wallace? Pleasure to the board.
For it to be a separate item.
Go ahead and add this as a separate item for next week on the agenda, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Discuss an update to the school bus stop arms ordinance. Mr. Chris Appel, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, Commissioner. And before I discuss the ordinance, I wanted to go ahead and introduce our newest Assistant Staff Attorney for the Sheriff's Office, Rebecca All. She comes to us from Cumberland County DA's office. She was there for 8.5 years. I can say, having worked down there for 2 years, 8.5 years makes you about 20 years worth of experience working in Fayetteville. So tried and tested. I'm excited that she's here. The sheriff and I greatly appreciate the support of the commissioners in providing this position. And Thomas and I have been doing our best to provide the services necessary to the sheriff's office, but just limited, and I know they needed more assistance over there. So again, appreciate your support in providing this additional position, allowing Rebecca to come here. Actually, I'm not sure if the sheriff or Major McNeil is more excited, because Major McNeil gets a lot off his plate. But again, just want to introduce you to Rebecca. You'll be seeing her some, obviously, for any updates that are necessary from the sheriff's office. But just want to give you a chance to actually meet us all today.
Good to meet everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome. All right. Moving on to the ordinance, commissioners. So we are 2 years into our stop arm, our school bus stop arm ordinance and process that we have, which has necessitated just over time providing a few updates to our ordinance. It's mostly just kind of cleaning up. First is just changing the name. The original name we adopted is a bit lengthy. As you can see, I've crossed down the red line. Just make it easier and call it the Harnett County School Bus Stop Armed Violations Ordinance. So just first and foremost, just shortening the name. On page 2 there, so I cleaned this up a little bit. When we originally adopted the ordinance, we kind of adopted in the fashion of a resolution. So we had a bunch of whereas. Just to make this look like all of our other ordinances, I kind of took that off, and by doing so, reincorporated into a new section 1, which is the title, of the new ordinance. Section 2 is the authority. We have the authority to adopt such an ordinance under 153A-246 to enforce violations of 20-217. So that was in the original resolution to create the ordinance. I've just now incorporated it into its own separate section. Okay, move on. Just a couple other minor edits. The main one on page 4 is to the new section 5 under appeals. So under that 153A-246, it listed all the reasons as to why you could appeal a violation, and those were written under 1 through 4. So 1 through 4 on this ordinance are restatement of that statute. Now, for whatever reason, one of the reasons they didn't put under a reason to appeal is actually if there was a violation of 20-217, if there was actually a violation of passing a stopped school bus. Now, in practice, we've been hearing those appeals, because inherently is if there's not a violation, you can't issue a citation. It shouldn't be upheld. So in practice, we've been doing that. We've been hearing appeals on it. But this is just to clearly state that we do allow an appeal if you're contesting that there actually wasn't even a violation of passing a stopped school bus for the purpose of loading or unloading children. And we get plenty of those. So that's just making it clear to the citizens that you can appeal for that reason. Under subsection D, this is an appeal of the administrative board to district court. So again, that's under statute, that's the process has to be followed as it's heard by our administrative appeals board, then it goes to district court, and then further up from there. So far we've had one appeal to district court, and there's confusion over the name of the party that they have to name. So to make it clear to citizens is that if you're going to appeal a decision of the administrative appeals board, you shall name the County of Harnett as the adverse party to the appeal. It's not the Harnett County Stop Arm Board or whatnot. It's County of Harnett has to be named. So that's just to make it clear for citizens if they choose to appeal to district court. Otherwise, that's really all the changes. It's pretty minor, just cleaning up a few items.
Is it working?
The appeals process, or overall the program?
Overall the program.
Okay. Overall the program, obviously, we are the first in the state to do this, so there were some hurdles to get over. We have been improving the process overall. I'll say this: the idea behind it is great. The equipment's great. The cameras are really good. They show very clearly what's going on. The sheriff's office is able to review these and make a good determination on it. I think we've gotten the process down for the appeals. They've gotten more efficient in those. Obviously, you're still going to be, anytime you're dealing with money, there's going to be upset citizens. So it's just the inherent nature of it. We just deal with that. But try to explain, why they received a citation or whatnot of the process. There are still some hiccups along the way, and just that's inherent. And I think with working with a third party to administer this program, everything goes to our vendor, and then it goes over to the sheriff's office for approval, and it goes back. But they control kind of everything. So there's had been some coaching from my part on the law, just making clear on how that works and the process of the appeals process. Obviously you have to work with the school system, making sure that they're satisfied. So I would say overall it has gotten better over the 2 years that we've been doing this. Like I said, the idea behind it is a great program. The appeals process itself, I feel like, has become really efficient. I think we've gotten good at that. And I think the board does a good job of making their decisions. I think that's reflected in the fact that so far we've only had one appeal to district court. I know that at the beginning there was some struggle dealing with the clerk's office and communication that I'll take some blame for, and since we were the first, trying to coach them what is this program exactly, but everyone's on the same page now. So I think overall it's working.
But I'm only interested in it, has it eliminated a lot of the violations? People just not stopping for bus stops.
Right. Well, part of it is this is a teaching moment for a lot of citizens. I think there's a lot of confusion over when you have to stop for a bus, and that's reflected a lot on your 4+ lane highways that have turn lanes. 87 is a perfect example.
Yeah.
There's always a lot of confusion of if the school bus is stopped all the way over here, you've got 3 lanes and there's 2 turn lanes. A lot of people don't understand that the ones that are turning left have to stop as well. Everyone going that same direction has to stop. Or if there's a barrier or a median, or if there's not a median. So I think there's some confusion, and I think that word is kind of getting out there from the education piece. It's an unfortunate lesson that individuals will have to learn, but I think that message is getting out there. I think this program as it becomes more widely known, I think it's having an effect. I hear more citizens that they're more and more that they're aware that these cameras on school buses. It's definitely caught some really egregious cases that we would have not gotten had the cameras not been on there. So overall, I would say yes, there's still plenty of citations being written, but I think overall it's getting better.
Thank you. That's good if it's providing safety for the children. So that's what's important.
Right. Yeah. Obviously, from the sheriff's and our end, the whole goal, the idea behind this is not to cite people just to cite people and get money. That's not the idea.
Right. I understand that.
It's absolutely safety. That's why the sheriff's office does use some discretion on whether it issues a citation based on safety, not just for the children, but also safety for the driver. They have to make sure they can stop safely without being rear-ended as well. So I appreciate the fact the sheriff's office uses subjectivity on here, acknowledging the fact that it's safety for everyone. So
that's important.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Very nice. Any other questions or comments? Thank you for the update. We need to approve the update for the ordinance, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. I would ask for the consent unless you want it as a separate item.
Gotcha. Does anybody have any objection? Any of the commissioners have any objection to adding it to the agenda? We'll add to the consent agenda for approval next week as well. Thank you. All right. Economic Development Quarterly Update. Mr. Stephen Barrington. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Really a few different things I'm going to highlight. First, from an operations standpoint, the first thing I'm going to say is we really have a great team, and we feel like this team is going to take us a long ways here in Harnett County. So economic development can be very broad. We're going to be focusing on 3 primary areas. Business retention expansion, which is really all about existing business and industry, real estate and product development, and really the third, business attraction and recruitment. So all things that economic development is, we will support and we will help proactively. Those are the 3 major areas in which we will be focusing our attention on. Right now, we are still operationally, we are working on obtaining a couple of different tools that we need in-house in order to be able to track CRM and some other tools that we can easily use for RFI inquiry responses and or business and attraction and recruitment, just reaching out to the different folks as such. So again, those couple of tools we're working on at this point. The thing I wanted to kind of mention to you as of tomorrow, beginning in November, for the next few months, we're going to be focused a lot on site identification across the county. We want to understand across the county where there might be some new industrial or office business park opportunities. And so that's going to be a several month phase project for the identification, then another month for kind of piecemealing and putting all that information together into a package with any recommendations that we may have. We hope to be finished with that, expect to be finished with that final report by the end of February. But for the first 3 months, November through January, we'll be doing a lot of the field work, etc. We have also been having some really good conversations with a private sector developer. And we're doing this in conjunction with the I-95 Alliance, great partners, to kind of identify partners that may be willing to put in some shale buildings into the county itself. Here's the issue with that, and Commissioner McCoy, we're talking about bringing in more commercial and industrial properties for more jobs for the residents. We have one building in the county, industrial building across the county that we're aware of. We need more product. So right now, 60 to 70% of all inquiries we receive are for existing buildings. Again, we have one industrial building that we're aware of for lease, 120,000 square feet, former Burlington Mill plant over in Irwin area. That's it. So we're also looking at what kinds of sites we have. So we cannot thank you enough for the investments into the properties, into the industrial sites that the county owns and or controls. We need to add more product to the table, buildings and sites, so that we can really grow what you're referring to, ultimately to get the jobs we need here to support the residents here, and the diverse jobs that will meet different audiences here. So right now we also are working on, so going back to, to the conversation that we're having with the developer, is progressing, is going well, and we hope to bring something to you in the near future for your consideration. And I'll stop there with that. From a project standpoint, we're currently working with two competitive projects who are, Harnett County is one of a number of locations in which they're considering, but we're, nevertheless, they are prospects because they visited our community. When I talk about leads, oftentimes these are folks that we're just kind of constantly reaching out to, but not necessarily, they've not necessarily stepped foot here or really requested more information. When I talk about prospects, they've taken it to another stage whereby they are looking in the county. They've come here, they've sent more, they've kind of, after an initial inquiry, they've come back for more information. So right now we have two of those we're working on, and we're working on 3 expansion projects here in the county at this point as well. Lastly, really, and I said this earlier, our team cannot thank you enough for your support of economic development and the investments that you put into the county from a product development standpoint and from a team infrastructure standpoint as well. It's noticed, and it's noticed outside the county as well. Thank you.
I'll say, sounds good report. At least you're going in the right direction. I understand about the shale buildings we don't have. This has been discussed many times that we need the shale buildings. But my concern is if we don't move fast, we're gonna run out of land.
Say that concern one more time.
If we don't move pretty fast, we're gonna run out of land. So that's what I'm concerned about, because I do believe that Harnett County is a site that can attract industry, and I'm just hoping that somebody will see it. And another thing is that retail. We need something to offset the taxes here for the citizens in this county. So we need to be reaching out to see if we can draw some retail here.
So it's very interesting you said that, because if you look at data for the county, retail is actually the #1 industry within the county based on the number of employees, the very #1. However, on top of that, just over the last month, the county is actually contracted with Retail Strategies to do exactly what you're talking about, looking at doing some research up front for the next 100 days, and then really looking at what are some properties that they may be able to look at for future retail opportunities, because even though it's #1, there's still a lot of other opportunity along that line. So thank you for that.
And I gotta say, you have a good staff.
Thank you. I agree.
I know the staff,
Great one.
so I praise the staff, and I think you're gonna do well too.
Thank you, ma'am.
Because I'm gonna be talking to you just like I talked to the other directors.
I would like that.
All right, have a good day.
Thank you.
Let me ask one question. Epsilon Advanced Materials down in Brunswick County. Did we see that RFP from Commerce? And if so, how did we respond? I know this was prior to you.
That's actually, I don't know the answer because it was prior to me in terms of when that inquiry would have first started. So I don't know that answer, but also when we receive inquiries, we never know what company it is. We only know, unless it's direct, we know it by a project name. So I don't know the answer for that at this point. And again, I cannot remember at what stage in which that project was submitted by EDPNC, but that was certainly before my time.
Right.
I would ask Angela, what happened to the pharmaceutical company?
Oh, you're talking about Crygen.
Yeah, right.
So Angie Stewart may want to speak on that, but we had the opportunity to meet with Crygen this past week. And it was a great conversation, and they are actually in the middle of conversations right there now with a new company that has done some really good work with the pharma who may end up acquiring Crygen, but it would still go by Crygen. Again, that's very early in this stage, but they're having those conversations at this point.
So the plan is still on to, because I know they invested a lot in that plant.
Yes, yes, they have
So the
invested.
project is still on.
Oh, Crygen absolutely is still on. In fact, by this new relationship, it may be stronger than before.
Great, that's great. That's good to hear. Thank you.
No, you're quite welcome. And that's one of the companies we're working with from a growing standpoint.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? I want to say I appreciate everything that you're doing, and I love that you keep using the word team and emphasizing on that.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Outstanding.
Thank
Keep
you.
it going.
Thank you.
All right. Financial quarterly update, Ms. Kimberly Honeycutt.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. You have before you in your packages the quarterly financial reports as required. And so typically I will come to you each quarter, give you an analysis, a brief analysis of the report, just kind of point out some of the highlights. For the first 3 months, essentially, we're very short into our activity. So I just want to show you that I break out the ad valorem taxes to give you an idea of what that is composed of. And so for this quarter ending, we have collected $8,056,000 as compared to $9,049,000 same period last year. I will let you know that we have implemented, working on some new tax software, so we are going back trying to make sure that as those that activity is being posted, we're still checking and verifying the account numbers that it's going to. So we're doing quite a bit of cleanup. So I'm not really concerned about that amount being less than the prior year because collections are still strong. And if you compare the total general fund revenues for the same period last year, we are just under that revenue line. So I think it's kind of just status, business as usual. I will let you know that the general fund cash for September for this quarter is actually $8 million more than it was last year at this time, and that is because of right now we're looking at about $8 million revenues over expenditures for the general fund. I will not really comment on our audit numbers and statistics. I would like to come back to you in about another month and give you specific numbers. Our auditors are pretty much finished with our audit. We are now, I think they're doing some final Medicaid selections, but as far as our numbers of fund balance, where the county ended up, we're going through those, verifying those numbers, and I would like to come back to you probably in another work session to give you more information on that. But right now, I won't go in detail, but we'll just kind of briefly, when I go through this report, I pull out the general fund, Harnett Regional Water, and solid waste, because those are our three major components. Right now, everything is going right along as expected for the first 3 months of our fiscal year. So, do you have any questions? And it's riveting reading. It's one that you just cannot put down when you pick it up.
Any questions or comments from Ms.
Well, it doesn't have a long title, so I had to say something. So, yeah.
I'll make sure I go through it all later. Thank you. Any other questions?
And we do not have any sales tax to report because, as you know, that sales tax is always 3 months behind in reporting, so there are no sales tax to report yet.
Going in the right direction.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, well, good deal. Moving on to review applications to serve on boards and committees. Commissioners, in front of you, you have a packet with 2 applications, one of which is for the Board of Equalization and Review, a Matthew Lynch from District 2.
Mr. Chairman, we had a previous applicant, Mr. Langley, some months back, that got put over.
Yes, it was, we had tabled that.
Yeah. Can we add him to the list for consideration?
We need to remove that from the table, the application, or just add them to the list for consideration? Joe Langley?
Just leave this for further discussion.
Yeah.
Can I ask, I thought we were supposed to be adding, there's a camera to the historical. I thought we were supposed to be adding, excuse me, there's a camera to the Historical Properties Commission.
We haven't received his application yet.
You haven't received your application?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
4 vacancies, so we have Donna, read that. Donna Johnson. Donna Johnson, who would like to be considered as a District 4 member.
Actually, she would fill an alternate vacancy. She's a district, she previously served as District 4, but we have appointed someone to a District 4 rep.
Does anybody have any issues with adding Ms. Johnson as an alternate for the Historic Properties Commission? Seeing that we have
I really don't know. He was in my district, but after that, withdrew the district. Don't know.
Is there any objection to adding Ms. Donna Johnson to the Historic Properties Commission as an alternate?
I'm good with it, since she's District 4.
I have a problem.
Pardon?
I don't have a problem.
We'll go ahead and add Ms. Donna Johnson on the consent agenda for approval, and then can we add a separate item for next week so we can discuss the Board of Equalization review?
Absolutely.
As well as if you can contact Mr. Joe Langley, make sure his application is still good to go.
Will do.
Thank you very much. Right, and there's still a few more. We're starting to chip away at these committees, but any commissioner has someone they can recommend or refer or even appoint unwillingly, we will take that as well. Right. So moving on, discuss a request to waive fees for the Ben Haven Emergency Services Fire Station. Mr. Brent Trout, good morning, sir.
I'll kick it off. We have had 2 fire stations that are nearing completion. Actually, one that is complete more or less, and then the other one that's partway done. And now we have them coming forward looking to have a waiver, actually a reimbursement of the fees paid for the various areas that we charge fees for. And so Chief Thomas is here. He can come forward and present his request.
Good morning. As you said, we would like to request consideration of a waiver of the permitting fees for our facility. Just trying to keep as much money as we can within our fire district.
Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, if we don't recognize his request, we're taking taxpayer dollars, using them over here to turn around and give them back to here. So we're just swapping dollars. So I don't see any reason not to wait.
Any other questions or
I'm
comments?
good with it.
Pleasure of the board to go ahead and add this consent agenda for approval.
Thank you.
Congressman? Go ahead and add this to the consent agenda for next week as well, ma'am. And that brings us to the county manager's report. Mr. Trout.
Thank you, Chairman. The only item I have is to make a comment that you did receive an email from our county attorney, Snow, that we did complete the land acquisition at the Jetport area. And so now we'll begin to work with our engineer of record to make plans for our expansions in those areas and be able to move forward and pursue grants, et cetera. Now that we own the property, we can do so. So very good accomplishment for our county to be able to have room to grow now at our Jetport. That's all I have.
Outstanding. Do we have a need for a closed session?
No, Mr. Chairman.
We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and a second. We are adjourned.